Hey guys, Feanor here, and I have a video I'm trying to get out quickly to make sure you all know of this valuable EXP tip for any event with a 100% EXP bonus attached. So it won't be overly polished, but I just want to get it out to you fast. You still have time right now with Jester's Festival, but this applies to any event which boosts EXP and is worth saving up Master Writs for. This trick will require you to be able to craft Master Writs, and the availability you will have for each writ you can craft will depend on your crafting experience, knowledge, traits researched, motifs learned, crafting level, and skill points slotted. But, here's the caveat, there are some with much lower bars for entry, and those Master Writs are Provisioning and Alchemy, followed up closely by Enchanting. These writs typically sell for more on the market because of how accessible and useful they are to low-level characters, and when boosting alts. That being said, pick and choose which writs you want to use based on these parameters and what you as a player are currently capable of. Secondarily, you can see with my add-ons, I get a bit of breakdown on the cost of each writ and how worth it one is or isn't, but you can also do the math without add-ons if you like. If this writ will require me to craft a legendary cloth item, then we already know I'm required to spend 8 Dregwax minimum, plus the other mat costs. So you add up the cost of all the materials, then check the current average market value of writ vouchers, divide the number of writs you will get by the material cost, and then you are wanting the per writ voucher cost to be below the craft material cost to do the Master Writ. The lower the cost, the more you are profiting. Though you might be a little more willing to do a bad financial craft if your goal is purely EXP gains, and you don't mind essentially paying more gold for more experience and convenience. Okay, I'm here in Serenity Haven's Guild Hall to do my crafting with all their master crafting tables. And first things first, I'm going to look at all the Master Writs that I have on me currently. I tried to hold about half my inventory space, because once I go through crafting all of these, it's going to essentially double the items that I'm holding. So I'll be at almost max capacity. I never want to push it entirely, but I'll be almost there by the time I'm done. And I just want to go through, and you want to look for these check marks, meaning the yellow check mark means you have everything that you need to be able to craft the Master Writ on your character and in your knowledge base. That does not mean that you can't craft some of them and then run out. So you want to be kind of mindful of how big your stock is of materials. Obviously, I have a shitload of essentially every material in the game, but if you don't have that, then you might want to go through and see what you need and kind of get a general list and try to go stock up at traders before doing this, just to save yourself time so you're not crafting and then running out and then crafting and then running out. It's very annoying, not time effective, and you're trying to make use of EXP scrolls during this time. And we'll get to that. We're not using an EXP scroll or Ambrosia currently, so that's not part of the step yet, but it's going to be when you start doing turn-ins, and then it's up to you if you want to do multiple trips of crafting writs and how you're going to go about this. You're going to want to try to use up that time as well as possible. And I have some other advice for you in case you're only going to do one trip of Master Writs and then need to know what to do with the EXP after that, okay? So all of mine will have check marks for sure. So I'm going to be able to craft all of those. I'm going to put Writ back in there just so I don't have to deal with the few other items I'm holding. And then I'm going to go down to the chat and we're going to type /Writworthy with the Writworthy add-on. Of course, you need it. So once I hit enter, this menu is going to come up and we're going to say NQ all. It's going to check every single one, and I do have all the materials. If you don't, they'll be like red. It'll give you warnings that you're not going to be able to craft them. You're missing something to be able to finish them. You can also try to replace these with your crafting stones, your mimic stones, if you don't want to spend any on like some of the expensive trait materials. I don't usually mess with that, but sometimes I will if I want to be like nitpicky and save materials. I'm doing fine on them. I don't need to do that right now. It gives you some nice data. It's telling me I'm going to spend about 700,000 in materials. It tells me the average queued voucher cost, which 366 gold is almost half, not quite half. It's somewhere close to half of current Writ voucher value. So I'm doubling my money by doing this and getting a bunch of EXP. So I'm winning on both fronts. You might see it be higher if you're just going for EXP and you weren't very picky, or if you're doing the, you know, lower level version of this where you're using enchanting and you're using alchemy and provisioning. It's gonna be higher almost certainly. And that's not even counting what you could have been selling the Writs for. So there's definitely a trade-off there for gold. Anyway, enough of the rambling. They're all queued. That's literally it. Now when I go up to a station, it's literally going to automatically craft every single thing I need. I have rarely seen this mess up. It's maybe been 5 mistaken crafts out of 1,000 or so for me in any recent history. But most of the time it's bang on. It's like a 99% success rate for me. So anyway, I'm going to let this run through. It does take time, way less if you did these manually, but it still does take time, and then I'll cut back as soon as we're to the next phase. Okay guys, I have completed all of the Master Writs. Took a little bit, not too long, but my character just went to, had my character go to each of the crafting stations, just simply activated it. He did anything that he needed to take care of it. It even does the upgrading, so it takes it to epic or legendary quality, whatever it's called for. They are all done. They are all ready. I have all of them here in my inventory. I can go ahead and close this window now. I could have closed it in the guild house, but wanted to show you guys. Here in Mournhold, this isn't the only location. This is just the one I always go to. So I'm at the vendor and quest turn-in, Rawlis Halalu, for this location, and now it's literally just going to be accepting the quests. You can only do one at a time per crafting type. So I can reopen my inventory here and take a blacksmith because I just accepted a alchemy. You can do it however you want. Most of mine are blacksmiths, so I will not be going through and doing like cloth and alchemy and stuff every single time. I'm just going to go one by one and get into a nice rhythm of turning them in. But before I start turning them in, this is where I want to use, you can just do 50%, you can use Ambrosias, whatever you have available to you. But for me, during events like this, I like to use my 150s. My mythicals, I just sold the whole stack, and I have plenty of scrolls, so I don't need to use those. I'm just going to pop one of my 150%s. Now I'm getting 100% from the event, 150% from the scroll. That's going to be a lot of EXP. We're going to look up top here. I'm 1,904 when I started, almost 05. I'm going to turn all these in, and we're going to see what one inventory full worth of Writs nets me by the end. Again, I'm not going to have you sit through me turning them all in, so I'm going to skip to the end. And it'll actually take time for the server to catch up to all the turn-ins as well. It's going to have to calculate all the Writ rewards. It's going to have to calculate all the gold and the EXP. So I'm going to skip kind of to the end. I'll figure it out as I go, just so you can see what it really looks like and what the end result ends up being. All right.
I like to think of it.
Greatness within the nation of her scene.
If I have to wait around anyway, at least.
Okay, I had to stop to respond to a text for somebody, but going through, like 100 of these Writs took me a good 5 to 6 minutes. And there we go, there's the last one. And as you see, I have there was a break in the gold too, but I got I think it was 40,000 gold and maybe 1,500 Writ vouchers from turning them all in. If it weren't broken up into two turn-in things there. But, sorry, I'm scrambled. But you can tell that this has not really changed much at all. So it's going to be a catch-up process, and we're going to skip to that too. So I'll have another like point where I cut, and then I'll just show you the end result as it processes all of this data that it's taking in. But you don't have to stand here and wait for it. So you can either go and start on your next cycle of Master Writs if you're going to be doing them, and just keep coming back and get as many in that hour window that you have, or 30 minutes if you're using a potion, you know, whatever timer you have. Go try to get as much done that you can in that window. As long as you've turned them in, you're going to get that reward. So even though it's updating right now, it's actually already done on their end. Like if that timer ran out right now, I would still get the full 250% experience for when I turn them in. So don't be concerned about that. Now, if you aren't going to do multiple sets of Master Writs, you only have, you know, let's say you're only doing 25. That's fine. You can turn in whatever you have, then immediately try to utilize your EXP bonus the best you can. If you have a BRP group that you can jump in and do Black Rose Prison and get carried in, that's fantastic. But if you don't have something like that, just go to a public dungeon and get your farm on. You know, like utilize that time as efficiently as possible. Get your numbers up, or don't. You know, I'm just saying, if you're here for that, if you're trying to figure out how to get your levels up quicker, you're trying to gain CP and get to that sweet spot of like 1300 or something when you're newer, but you have some kind of groundwork laid out and you have some kind of gold to spend on doing a process like this, then that's what you're going to want to do. You can also queue. There's another thing you could do, like before you do this process. It's just a little iffy on like what's better for spending your time. But you can queue for your daily dungeon group. What am I doing? You get this bonus plus the percentage on top of it. You could do the same thing with your daily battlegrounds. Just totally depends on how you want to spend that time and how it's going to shake out in the end. But this is by far the best way to cheese levels. It just requires, you know, a good amount of gold or footing in crafting already. So it's not like someone can just jump in and do it with nothing. There is prep, there is cost. So it's a trick for people that are more in that middle ground and like kind of understanding what's going on and having a footing. But yeah, anyway, hope this helped you guys. Maybe you're gonna plan to do it in the future. Maybe you're not quite set up for Jester Festival, and that's fine. But now you know. Now you have this trick under your belt. You can also help other people that you know and pass it along. But it's a very valuable one to learn. So, all right, and just like that, I didn't do anything, by the way. I just went to another zone. I just logged out, logged back in. I didn't want to do anything to gain any XP beyond turning those in, and we ended up 1914. So as you see, that's a pretty quick and easy way to get a lot of levels. I have had so many Master Writs at times that I've gone up 100 levels in one sitting. So it's really dependent on what you want to put into it. So that gives you a good idea, though, of how many it'll take you roughly to climb some levels. And it's obviously a lot better when you need less XP. So that's around mine, like where I'm at, but it's going to be different for you a little bit. You get the idea. All right. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. I think that'll do for this video. I don't think I'm missing anything too major. I'm sure I'm missing something minor here or there, or like people wanted more details. I just didn't have the time right now, and I have to get this out to you guys while the bonus is still available. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and thanks a lot. Have a good one.